Real entrepreneur for the firm PR First, Jim Farrell.
Thank you very much for having me today.
That's my pleasure. Jim, why don't you tell us about PR First?
Okay, sure. We are a public relations firm located down in Hanover. We are a six-person company. I started the firm in '98, so 15 years ago this past March. We work with about 30 different companies. Many of them are in this region, Massachusetts. We have a couple that are out of state, and we have one international. But most of our work is done in the eastern part of Massachusetts. And we are a firm of six, and four of us worked in the newspaper industry before we get into public relations. So we like to say that that was probably the greatest boot camp that we could have ever had in getting into this line of work.
Right. It's funny, the greatest copywriter I ever met was an ex-newspaper guy, and he used to tell me it's because he used to be more thorough in his preparation than a traditional copywriter.
Well, and there's a lot of just practice and the economy of words, because you face tough space deadlines and requirements, so it teaches you to write in a very, very focused and very, very systematic way.
So what's your background? A little bit more fully thought out.
Well, I went through school as an English major. I always knew I wanted to work in a writing-related field, and my first position in that, other than a very, very brief stint at an ad agency when I was in college, was to work in the newspaper industry. And I found myself in a situation where I live in the town of Kingston, and there was a small newspaper that was looking for a writer. I answered an ad, became one of their correspondents, and a sequence of events suddenly gave me the opportunity in a very short time to buy the newspaper from the owners. So I ended up working in the weekly newspaper business for a good number of years. Started as a writer, became an editor, and ultimately ended up doing everything from selling the advertisements to managing the printing of it to emptying the wastebaskets at night. Had an opportunity some years afterwards to sell the newspapers to a larger company on the South Shore, and when I did that and I worked in that industry for a while, I then made my way into public relations. I worked for two other companies before starting this company 15 years ago.
So you worked your way into PR, or down to PR.
Yes, yes.
Now,